I guess I'm kind of on a roll making videos. I wanted to talk about a subject that a lot of people that are afflicted with bipolar probably experience at some point, but it's something that many people don't want to talk about, especially if it leads to bad decisions. And one of the things that I experience from time to time is hypersexuality. And as a guy, oftentimes if I tell someone else that is a guy, they'll like give off this impression of like right on. And I suppose maybe for a week it's okay, and it can maybe be a good thing, something different to experience. But when it goes on for weeks or even months, it becomes increasingly difficult to control, to not act impulsively when opportunities present themselves, and it can get to a point where it interferes with your life because suddenly your biggest priority in life is not maybe your family or the people you care about or work. It's about sex or sexual gratification. And I think even for those that, if they're in a relationship, if they don't go outside the relationship, it can put a strain on the relationship, partly because there can be a big difference in sex drive between the person that's experiencing the hypersexuality and their partner, husband, wife, whoever. It can cause some conflict in the relationship, and I think there's more awareness now, or at least maybe it's more openly talked about, about the difference in sex drive. It's not uncommon for a man to have a greater sex drive than a woman, and for that to present some difficulties in marriage. I would say that's fairly typical. But when it becomes extreme, sometimes there's nothing that can satisfy you. And for me, that's when it turns into this intense frustration, irritation. It drives me crazy because you can't ever disarm that sexual tension. It's overwhelming, it's very strong, and yet you have to live with it. You can't run away from yourself. You can't always act out on it either, obviously, but you still have to find a way to deal with it, to manage it. And for me, probably hypersexuality is one of the hardest thing to control over the long run. Not making mistakes, not doing stupid things. I think part of it is that a person's sex drive is a very deep-seated part of you, and I like to say that bipolar has a way of really ratcheting things up, especially on the plus side. If you're talking about hypomania and mania, it can have a way of exaggerating any personality defects or anything that might make you eccentric or set you apart from other people. It can magnify, it can make it much larger than life and cause problems for the people around you, for you. But a person's sex drive, when it's hopped up, multiplied, not just 2 times or 3 times, but maybe even 10 times your normal sex drive, it's disruptive, and it's one thing that I really have little advice to give, really. I'm guessing a lot of marriages have been ended because of infidelity and relationships broken apart because if your partner or husband, wife, significant other is unwilling to indulge your increase in sex drive, it makes it very difficult to deal with it. And I know on their part, in my situation, it can be frustrating from their perspective because no matter how much they give, it's never enough. And it can be frustrating. I guess I'll step back. I think there's a tendency to view men's sexual drive as I'll start over. I think there's a tendency for men to objectify other people whom they're attracted to. It may just be a part of how the sexes operate, but I know for me, when I experience hypersexuality, it can be very easy for me to objectify my other half, and for him that's very off-putting to be looked at like that, you know. And the intensity sometimes that he sees in my eyes can scare him and be a big turnoff, and so that just makes the situation even more difficult to deal with. I've known people through our DVSA meetings that have certainly struggled with this, and a few people I've connected with on this subject. But sometimes I wish there would be less barriers to talk about it, because it's one way that relationships can be destroyed and negatively affected, especially if it's something that you might encounter because you have bipolar. If you're not aware that this is a possibility, it's a bad thing to be blindsided by. And I don't have, again, much advice other than to try to be self-aware, to know it exists. Maybe you'll be lucky and never experience it, but I'm guessing it's far more common than most would probably indicate. So, in closing, I just wanted to bring the issue up to see what others might comment or say about this. So, feel free to reply, ask questions, or just say thanks. I don't know. If you find it helpful, certainly let me know. I can talk about maybe particular instances, or maybe the way in which I've dealt with it, which is not great. But I guess I'll leave it here.